subscribe and ring the bell to never miss an update. Hello everyone! Today on Lady Mary Bath, I am taking you along to an estate sale where we will find lots of our favorite classic blue and white and treasures from the past. Join me. The stylish front door is already a warm welcome. Let's step inside together and get a feel for the design of this home and the types of furnishings that they have. And I already see one of our favorite colors. And there's so much we can discover together. Welcome to this sale hosted by the Emily Stiles Estate Sale Company. It is located in the Energy Corridor in the heart of Houston. And I see some beautiful items already. Let's get started. Beautifully presented. Everything is organized and ready for shoppers. The mantle is a focal point in any home, and this has lots of brass accents. We will talk about that in depth, as well as artwork. And the blue and white actually represents several different countries with its craftsmanship. A wonderful blue and white collection. Delft pottery from Holland, Royal Copenhagen collector's plates, and even something from the Alamo for San Antonio. And how about this very special piece? It is reticulated. Royal Copenhagen, it is the blue fluted half lace plate. You'll see it's footed, and this goes for about $250 on the secondary market. Delft is definitely a good deal here today. These are hand painted, made in Holland. And a teapot or coffee pot is not something I find often. There's that beautiful back stamp with a crown. Many different factories produce the Delft blue design. Highly collectible, and this tray at $20 is also a great price. Collector's plates. We've talked about these in depth in a recent segment at the Consignment Collection in Houston, and that's certainly something you could consider gifting to a friend who might be born in 1970. They might find that to be an interesting addition. Pheasants in the snow at Christmas, made in Denmark. Beautiful back stamp. And being a sixth generation Texan, this is definitely something I would enjoy receiving as a gift. San Antonio, the Alamo is our Texas shrine. The Royal Copenhagen plate is $50 at the initial price. Of course, it goes down the second and third days of the sale. I think $50 is reasonable when you consider the value. Beautiful back stamp there. Usually 25% off the second day and $50 the last day. $20 for this sweet creamer is a great price, and especially if you can get it on the last day. Good for syrup, dessert sauces. And now we'll take a look at some of these items in the living room. I see some tabletop essentials and one item that I think would be great for gifting. I'm loving the blue and white accents in this room. You could almost transport this into your home and already have a finished look. There's some great finds here on the coffee table with that crystal rose bowl and the Schleuderstein. That is definitely European with the design. And this Chinoiserie lady here has a Homeco sticker on the bottom, meaning it was distributed by Home Interiors. And I do see this figurine in many different resale shops. And unless you would have seen that Homeco sticker, you might not realize the origin. My mother sold home interiors for a time in the 70s, but I don't recall that piece. This rose bowl would be a great idea to bring to your local florist, have a dozen roses or a spring arrangement placed inside. And what a wonderful gift that would be. Or even for your table if company's coming. That would definitely dress up your luncheon or dinner. I'm always looking for biscuit barrels. Usually Waterford Crystal is atop my list. This looks like it might be Miller Rogowska. Perhaps the Gallia pattern. So many uses for this all-important vessel, and at Christmas time I hang candy canes around the rim. Great for cotton balls in the bathroom. So many ways you can utilize this. Of course, it is a fancy way of saying cookie jar for that biscuit barrel. $50 is a fair price for the first day of the sale. And these blue and white lamps, I think, would be a wonderful way to anchor your room. Even if you had other colors, you could certainly use the blue and white, which is sort of a neutral. Those blue velvet pillows are fantastic. Lots of beautiful dishes in this home, including the ever-popular Blue Danube. The patent was held by Lipper International. They had it made in Japan and distributed in North America and also Central America. Inspired by Meisen's Zwiebelmuster, the blue onion pattern. And this is a very special piece because it is ultra chip resistant. Since it was fired over 2,600 degrees, it has some durability, which is always a great choice. I like that the estate sale company has priced these as different groupings. 8 dinner plates for $25. Perhaps you have the entire set, but you just need a few extra pieces. These salad plates, also $25 for 8 pieces. Great for tea time as well. And these would pair well with the cups and saucers, $5 for the set. Or it looks like $25 for all the teacups and saucers. Great start to a collection. I've shared mine on the channel in the early days. You may want to take a look at a previous segment. There's that Blue Danube back stamp. A classic pattern. And perhaps you don't need a dinner service. You're just wanting to have dessert, coffee, and you can also add that to your white dish collection. Look at all of these teacups. They're not with saucers, and that's why they price them separately. And a fabulous tureen. This is one that you don't see as often. And there originally was a matching ladle. It is not part of this, but certainly you could use a silver-plated one, preferably vintage. This soup tureen is a fantastic piece. And you'll notice in that Zwiebelmuster design, we do have something that reminds us a bit of Chinoiserie, and not just because of the blue and white. The flowers represent the ancient Chinese symbols of good fortune and happiness, and perhaps named after the Danube River that flows from southeastern Germany into the Black Sea. Brass is back. There's some wonderful pieces here to share with you, and we'll talk about a very special table as well. Chrome, steel, and silver are no longer at the forefront of design. There is a new metal in town. All the more reason to shop an estate sale where you find some things from the past. And you can certainly mix the metals. Let me show you some of these great finds, and we'll talk more about brass. You may wonder how to polish brass, especially pieces that you acquire on the secondary market that have perhaps been neglected a bit. Barkeeper's Friend is a product that I can recommend. You may even have this under your kitchen sink. And you might want to follow my friend Adam at Baker's Barware on Instagram. I will include a link in the video description. He has some great tips for polishing brass and some wonderful items he offers. Brass was once dated and considered passé. We are seeing a resurgence in these warmer metallic tones, and it actually works well to fit with many different styles. This Moroccan table is fabulous. It's actually on a foldable wooden base, great for entertaining, and once these are polished up, they are fantastic. This home was heavy on the brass. They have several samovars in the home, something that you often would find in Russian restaurants in East Germany after the wall came down. I remember those. The initial price is $200, and of course, as days go on, you can get a much better deal on these. Quite hard to find too. Now let's step into the den. This is adjacent to the master bedroom. The sitting room off the master bedroom features Duncan Phyfe furniture. As we've recently learned, it was actually named after the inspiration, a furniture maker from Scotland who was born in 1768, Mr. Duncan Phyfe. He immigrated to upstate New York and eventually settled in Manhattan, where he designed furniture for wealthy East Coast clients. These are some great examples, and we see those neoclassical elements. These lamps with matching finials are fantastic. priced at $150 with a touch of chinoiserie. And a dish pattern that would go well with the spring and summer seasons, like all those colors that are represented, and the matching sugar bowl. Rim soups are practical. These can also be for desserts. Jackson china. And that furniture style that we have learned about recently, also at the consignment collection, with matching side tables. And you notice that carved wood and the harp design. Elements that we often find in Duncan Fife. Love those tops.
An estate sale is a good opportunity to acquire quality furniture. And you could say that Duncan Fife never really goes out of style. Those flared legs and the claw feet covered with brass, I think, are always a great addition to your home. And with the marble tops, they are extra special.
I see 6 different colors in this china pattern, which would make it fun for setting tables. You could pull any one of those colors or a combination thereof. That sugar bowl is in very good condition with a gold band. I'm sure it was hand washed, not put in the dishwasher. That was very smart. This has probably seen some wonderful brunches, lunches, and dinners in this home. Such a fun look.
A china backstamp always gives you an insight to the history of a piece. And this pattern is quite beautiful. The backstamp says Jackson Featherweight. And this was made in Falls Creek, Pennsylvania. A company started in 1905 by 2 brothers, Emmanuel and Louis Fisher. It was actually constructed at the former site of a crystal factory.
The master bedroom has some furniture that is actually not as old as you would think. It was probably purchased in the 90s, even 2000.
At an estate sale, you often find some very interesting things in a master bedroom. This was a very important area of the home where you had some personal items. And no, it's not clothing in a closet. It is something rather unique that's actually meant for tabletop. Let's take a look at this time capsule.
The Lenox China stone pattern is oven to table. That classic blue and white resembles Delft pottery in the country blue pattern. It holds a very unusual accessory. And we have the original packaging telling us it is a demi tray that clips to the rim of any saucer for those after dinner coffees. If this had not been in the original packaging, I probably could not have figured out what it would be. Definitely a first for me. And I think she was definitely a good hostess.
It's the 1960s. You are hosting a bridge game with your friends, and you want to have the perfect table setting and any accessories to welcome your guests. You have the coffee brewed, sandwiches ready, and add that clip-on to complete your tabletop look. That's something I've actually not seen before, and I guess if that is something that makes your guests feel welcome, then why not? A very unique find at this sale.
The bedroom furniture is not yet priced, but I can tell you that everything is quite affordable at this sale. After all, the family wants to clear it out. I like that hand crocheted bedspread, the vanity set, and a lovely porcelain figurine on the nightstand. That could be incorporated into a centerpiece as well. It's not just for a side table. Beautiful pink roses. Let's look at that back stamp. Turn it over. It is Andrea by Sadek, made in China. They copied a lot of the well-known makers. In this case, it might have been a beam piece, a hurricane lamp for $125, and some antique photographs. And not just the class of 36, but some true antiques. And this, I was a bit concerned that the family might want to keep their portraits, but I did learn from the estate sale company that she had acquired this at an antique store. It's a bit unusual to find Christmas in the master bath but here we have it. And there's a lot we can discover here. We'll talk more about some of these Christmas pieces. And of course, it's not used year-round. Usually items are in pretty good condition, and some new things as well. Great chance to find Christmas and decorative items affordably. Love that teapot. $15, no back stamp.
It's a good idea to preview the auction photos when you follow that estate sale company, or even go to estatesales.net, type in your zip code, find out about area sales. When you look at those photos, you will get a better idea of where to find items. Seasonal is usually either upstairs in a 2-story home because it's been placed in the attic, or it's in a garage, not usually in the master bedroom. Here we have a Christmas teapot for $15.
New in-box items are always a good idea. That Fitz & Floyd server is something I've seen at the Bluebird Circle, and that would be a great item. These Lenox napkin rings are fantastic, would go very well with the holly pattern that I have, also acquired at a recent estate sale. New with tags, love these.
Another master bathroom find with the Christmas, we have the Lenox napkin rings. These are from Macy's, brand new, have never been opened. I don't want to break the seal, otherwise I would show you one up close. And these are going to be very well priced and great for gifting.
In the original box, this Fitz & Floyd Santa Sleigh cookie jar could also be incorporated into a centerpiece, or perhaps you could display it on a bar. Does not have to be just used for cookies. And an interesting piece of art, a porcelain plaque mounted into a frame. That is definitely a neat piece. And bowls are practical, and this one looks to be antique and has my attention.
I happened to notice this beautiful bowl, and it reminded me of something that I acquired when I was in college, my first auction purchase. And sure enough, I turn it over and it has that RS back stamp. I'll tell you more about this special piece and some of the history of the maker.
This back stamp says Prussia. It is what we know today as Germany, and borders did change often, even in our village. Prussia received sections of Thüringen in the East German area at the Congress of Vienna from 1814 to 1815, and after the 7 Weeks' War again in 1866.
The RS on the back stamp stands for Reinhold Schlegelmilch, who owned that factory in Thüringen, what we know today as Germany. I went to school with Silva Schlegelmilch, one of his descendants.
It's always a good idea to look in the other rooms at an estate sale. This is a great way to outfit a guest room in your home with some affordable furnishings, even bedding. And you might even find some luggage and crystal. It's nice to find affordable bowls because you can fill that with just about anything homemade, and you can gift that for just $5 or so. They haven't yet priced these, but I know that they will be affordable. It's a nice dresser. Reminds me of one I had as a child. Room for a seat and those Queen Anne legs. And in the other bedroom, we find ukuleles and hair receivers. That's an interesting combination. We've talked at length about these in a previous segment at a recent estate sale, and there are many modern uses for these as well. I encourage you to embrace them. For $10, not bad. It is hand-painted Nippon, made in Japan. And this one is pretty with the pansies. Let's turn it over for $12. Made in Germany with the Bavarian back stamp. And here we have an interesting combination too of the Supreme's greatest hits and dishes. Priced at $100. It is a mainstay back stamp. They tell us this on the tag. Let's turn it over and double check. And that is a brand made in China, carried by Walmart. I would definitely pass on this because it is not worth $100. I would focus more on the dining room, and we will head there shortly. A brass lamp is always a good idea. For $80, that is a fair price, especially if the shade is in good condition. A record album. This looks to be from the probably 40s. Oh, your cheatin' heart, Hank Williams. How about that? Love country music. And there are a lot of folks that collect these 45s, and they probably would be lined up if they looked at the preview photos. The dining room definitely has my attention.
The dining room is my favorite starting point at an estate sale. That's where I find all the china, crystal, silver. The table is beautifully set. Let's have a look at this china pattern.
I'm impressed that the estate sale company has set the table. It gives us an idea of some of these great finds, how we can use them. And it, of course, is an inviting look. And we see that filigree design. Absolutely beautiful. That American royalty back stamp.
This china pattern is a very good choice with that tone-on-tone raised design with the platinum rim. It is the winter set pattern from American royalty and labeled very fine porcelain. And this would go with just about any season and also mixes well with other dish patterns.
And here's a closer look at that pattern again. Such detail. And the teacup, I'm sure, has seen that clip a time or two that we saw earlier. Complete with a napkin. I'm quite impressed. And then we have some punch cups, which are more practical than you would imagine. These could be filled with fresh fruit.
You may think of this as a simple punch cup, but it actually has an interesting history with the manufacturer having ties to the automobile industry. This is a beautiful pattern that we have in our family with my father's punch set. We've used it for many celebrations, and this is one of the originals with the elongated handle.
$28 for a set of 7 punch cups.
The slewed horseshoe is one of my favorite EAPG patterns. This was produced by the L.E. Smith Glass Company from 1908 through the 1930s. It's a company that started in Jeannette, Pennsylvania in 1907. They are known for producing the first headlight lens for the Model T Ford.
A lovely set, complete with a round serving platter, also known as a chop plate. And in the center, we have a Royal Limited Crystal Hurricane. Holds a taper candle. I bought the identical one at still good consignment. Priced at $30, and here we have a crystal bowl at $35. This is molded. It is not hand cut. It is lead crystal. In the china cabinet, we have yet another pretty pattern. The lady of the house had probably, I would say, so far, maybe 3 or 4 sets of china that I've seen. And this also has many different colors. And you could certainly bring this into the fall season if you pull from the yellow, orange, and green. It's not just for the spring and summer seasons.
Mildred from Mount Clemens has a central floral design. It is vintage 1930s, and it's also a symbol of workers' rights and has an interesting history with U.S. labor laws. Mount Clemens has its origins in the aftermath of an economic depression. Local businessmen wanting to boost the economy traveled to pottery factories in Pennsylvania and Ohio to learn their production techniques. By the end of 1915, they had opened the Mount Clemens Pottery Company, and each week they produced 36,000 pieces. And then they had some issues with labor laws and became embroiled in a legal battle. It was a Michigan legal milestone. Employees were paid only when productive time began, not when the cards were punched upon arrival to work. In the 1930s, the employees sued, alleging violation of the Fair Labor Standards Act, enacted by Congress in 1938. And this went all the way to the Supreme Court, and they eventually prevailed.
I would love to hear from you in the comments below which dish pattern you have enjoyed the most at this home. And we have one more to go in the kitchen. Here's some other crystal pieces. This looks to be American Brilliant, priced at $10 for the cream and sugar. That's a fantastic deal. The basket is another great find. This is definitely lead crystal and looks to be hand cut, perfect for Easter, priced at $25. I think that is a fair price. This large bowl would work well for a trifle, $65. I would probably wait until the second day of the sale on this one, but I would go ahead and grab the creamer and sugar on the first day of the sale. I think this is fantastic. And a lidded candy jar for $18 that is pressed glass. A small teapot. This was probably part of a collection, commemorative pieces made in Japan. And a shaving mug. This, of course, is vintage. I find some unusual things here. And this cup is without a saucer. Let's turn it over. Look at the back stamp. Theodore Haviland, Limoges, France. Sold through a Boston company. Look at that gilt edge. Even inside, the pattern continues. I love boxes. And this one is meant for jewelry. You could certainly clean that up, even put a different lining in that. And the robin's egg blue definitely has my attention. I like that color and the design.
Jewelry boxes sell well at estate sales because we always need more space for our collection. These are inlaid Italian, made in Sorrento, Italy, and you will see the brass feet, brass hinges, and they're also musical. And the musical components are made by Rouge in Switzerland.
And on the piano, we have a jade tree. There's quite a large collection at B&B Consignment in the Dallas area. That could be a great centerpiece as well, $40 on the first day of the sale. I don't have one of these, but I keep seeing them at antique shops, and I think maybe I need one. A Schoninger piano from New York, a company established in 1850. Pianos are hard to sell at estate sales. They certainly are well priced, so if you're looking for a piano, you definitely want to tap into the estate sale market. And I learned a lot from the Houston Glass Show and Sale. This is yet another example of a bit of history.
A hidden gem at the bar. This is Cremax Pedalware from Macbeth Evans. It is vintage glass made from the 1930s to the 40s. This would be a great serving plate for cookies, brownies, and perfect for spring.
A bit of Japonaise or Chinoiserie. Let's turn it over and see. For $20. It's made in Japan, and it is meant to be a wall plaque, which probably means it is not food safe. Another brass samovar for $200.
The kitchen is the heart of the home, and we do find some great treasures here as well. I see some vintage glass and some fantastic pottery with a bit of history.
KitchenAid mixers usually sell quickly at estate sales. This one is priced at $200 on the first day. Lots of glasses. The etched pattern, I think, would go very well with the china we saw on the dining table. They are definitely vintage, priced at $100 for a set of 10 glasses. I would probably look on the second day of the sale. The cobalt glass salt and pepper shakers for $12 is a wonderful price. And flatware, $40. If it's 1810 stainless, which we've talked about in my Drab to Fab segment, the components in searching for flatware, then that would be a good deal. $3 each for pressed glass dishes. You could use those for just about anything. And more china. Let's turn it over and look at the back stamp. I like that design. Royal Doulton in the coronet pattern. It's an incredibly beautiful back stamp. And the colors would go with just about any season and setting. And the gold rim is classic. $25 for a set, cups and saucers without a back stamp. Great for tea time. And more of the blue Danube. Look in all rooms of the house when you are shopping an estate sale. And this picture looks interesting. Let's take a look at that back stamp for $14. Old English Staffordshire ware from Adams. And an 18-piece celebration punch set in the original box. This looks to be maybe from the 70s, made by the Indiana Glass Company. And here's a close look at that pattern. Similar to the Harvest Grape in the clear glass. And of course, Party Perfect. And a familiar pattern that we all know and love.
Desert Rose was a popular pattern and reached people in the 40s and 50s with an ad campaign featuring Hollywood celebrities, Joan Crawford, Greer Garson, and Dorothy Lamour. The 60th million piece was made in 1964, and that was chosen by Jackie Kennedy for use in the White House.
The Desert Rose actually works well for a Christmas setting. In a previous segment in Round Top, one of the sellers at Zapp Hall featured this in a place setting with Retro Christmas, and it actually worked quite well. Here's a look at one of the original back stamps, made in California. The side salad plate is practical and pretty. Could also be for a dinner roll and butter. Priced at $200 for the set on the first day of the sale. And the original pieces are actually quite expensive in antique stores. I think that's a fair price for the entire set, and those rosebud salt and peppers are fantastic.
Desert Rose has vintage charm and reminds of Sunday suppers and family gatherings, including in my home growing up. The design did change a bit over time because it was sold to different companies. From Gladding McBean, it became part of the Interpace company, and later Waterford Wedgwood. They added it to their Johnson Brothers line. And it went from being made in California to England, and finally made in China, where it did lose some of its charm, and finally was discontinued in 2013. I had such fun today bringing you along for the preview of this estate sale with some fabulous finds, a bit of history, and our favorite blue and white. An estate sale is a fantastic way to add things to your home and for gifting. Thanks again for joining Lady Mary Beth. Elevate your everyday with estate sales.